stages, I was able to document and embed any findings from the research I was conducting in the form of a blog post onto WordPress. Although this was a mandatory process for coursework purposes, it was a far better way of organising any of my ideas in development towards a finalised short film concept. It was extremely useful for the purpose of presenting any of my thoughts, ideas, and analysis of existing products, so I could establish the progress of my products. For example, when I stumbled across a short film upon a website such as Hunger TV, if I found it to be of any form of inspiration, I would then be able to blog about the short film in order to present any connections between pre-production and post-production. Referring back to the ideas from inspiration is subsequently easier, as all the previous information is there in the form of a blog post as opposed to cluttered pieces of Word documents. For exploring across existing short film products, in my opinion, the industry has become so diverse that film directors have begun to experiment maybe a bit too much, as I came across a variety of short films which aesthetically looked great, but the narrative was far too disturbing and complex, therefore meaning that I could not and did not want to continue analysis of the film. For short films, not many people other than media and art-based students will have watched a short film. As discussed during AS, I feel as though I spent more time focusing on the research and planning side, but I did, however, spend less time documenting the process of production and post-production in respect to how the editing process was going, and so on. So for the process of creating this short film, I tried to ensure that I created a balance between the amounts of work I conducted for both pre-production and post-production. I have advanced my personal ability in regards to organisation and structure. Creating a structure was important as I was then able to create a visual timeline which displayed the individual steps I had taken. In regards to audience feedback, SurveyMonkey was extremely beneficial for me as it allowed me to achieve instant responses whilst I was creating the ancillary and short film products. When I was facing difficulties in respect to features such as the titles for my short film, at the actual point of designing and integrating the titles into the short film, I decided to create a quick survey online, which I could then distribute over to my target audience. Through social media sites such as Facebook, I was able to send the survey out to many individuals who were available at the point of time in which I needed the information. It was then likely that I would receive instant feedback as the audience are simply just on Facebook for recreational purposes, so they are therefore going to be more than likely to be happy to help. After the first online survey I gave the audience, it then became clear as to who the most reliable individuals were in giving back honest feedback, so I was able to understand who I could ask for feedback on another occasion. Similarly to last year, I used a Canon EOS 600D to film my short film. This enabled me to capture at a very high quality. In turn, this became beneficial for the overall appearance of my short film, as the visual quality is subsequently higher, at a rate of 1080p, which makes the film look more professional. Despite the fact that the raw files took several minutes to import and render, Final Cut was an effective piece of software to use when editing my short film, due to the vast array of available editing technique choices. For instance, I relied heavily upon being able to alter the RGB levels when manipulating the appearance of reflections. When filming the outdoor scenes for my short film, I made sure that I made no alterations to effects such as the exposure and ISO on the actual camera, as this then enabled me to be more creative with my editing style during post-production, as the footage was initially simply just a blank canvas before applying my effects. I acquired many editing skills during the editing process of my AS coursework, and that was valuable for my A2 production. To design the film review and film poster, I used Photoshop. I already knew a wide variety of skills that could be applied during the process of designing the ancillary tasks, but have acquired some new abilities, especially with creating the imagery for the film poster. During the planning stages, I identified a new idea of intertwining imagery and typography together, as it was quite unique and would make the poster stand out, which is of course important for any form of advertisement material. So I experimented with the formation of placing an image within a letter to a great extent. Creating the film review was also an interesting process, so I was able to test my skills with being able to identify features of an existing product to then recreate my own through the ability to pick out existing features and how to rearrange a layout so that it was similar to an existing product. I chose to design my film review in the same format of an existing film review from Aesthetica, which was achieved through using Photoshop, as I was able to move the text around the imagery which acted as the centrepiece for the review. In summary, I have been able to sustain the skills acquired from AS as well as progressing further in regards to analytical and organised ways of productive, effective research, in order to create a balance between research and production.